I want you to think of your nervous system as your favorite sports team. And usually, when you're thinking about your favorite sports team, you think of it in two ways. One, they've got great coaches. Two, they've got great players, right? And so I'm going to use this analogy to help us divide out the nervous system into its two big parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Think of your central nervous system as the best sports coaches you can think of. Why did I say best sports coaches, you ask? Well, because the central nervous system consists of your brain and your spinal cord. So your best sports coach is your central nervous system. And if we think about the central nervous system, hey, it's going to be the top dog in the building, right? It's going to be taking in a bunch of input. It's going to be telling the players what to do. It's going to be the governing body over the whole team in and of itself. And that is true of the central nervous system. It's basically monitoring constantly, okay, where do I need to send a signal? Where do I need to change something? Where do I need to do this? And it integrates all that information in the brain and spinal cord. It's a really essential part of your nervous system. But there's several divisions now of your peripheral nervous system. These are going to be the players, P, peripheral. And if you think of a good coach monitoring the situation, the coach has to do two things. Receive information, sensory input about how the players are playing, and then adjust how the players are playing in order for them to be successful. So this is going to be the two divisions of the peripheral nervous system, which is the sensory and the motor. And by the names, you can kind of figure out, okay, which one is going to do what. So the sensory is going to receive sensory input, so through the senses, and this is called the afferent pathway. Anytime you see afferent, it's usually going to be going towards the brain. And then there's going to be the motor division. Motor, you think of like movement, right? Like a car's motor is moving it forward. And this is going to have some form of an action to it. And this is called the efferent pathway. I like to think of efferent as effect. It's going to have an effect on something. So this one is going to have a lot of effect on the players of the body, right? So we can further divide this up, and I want to extend the metaphor a little more. The motor division will have two big parts. It's going to have the somatic section, and it's also going to have the autonomic section. And let's talk about this metaphor, right? So the coach is sending information to the players to try to change their actions or make them do something, right? So one thing a coach can tell you is, hey, contort your body this way when you're playing defense. Your shooting form is off. Rather than having your elbow here, try to have it more down low. So these are active little tweaks of your skeletal muscles, of your actual voluntary parts of your body, so that you can perform better. So your somatic is first off voluntary. You control this part of your nervous system. I'm doing it right now with my skeletal muscles in my mouth and in my arms as I'm teaching. So the effectors, the effect it's going to have is on the skeletal muscles telling them to move, and this is a voluntary motion. Okay, so coach told you specific things to do. However, the coach can also do a couple other things that make you have an automatic reaction to them. So think about this. One thing the coach can say is, hey, calm down. You're getting too riled up, right? So this can mean, hey, you're doing something too much. We need to calm you down. Or the coach can blow his whistle, freak out, just scream like, get up. And it starts making your heart rate go up, and you kind of start freaking out a little bit, and you're moved to action automatically, right? So think about it in terms of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic sections of your autonomic nervous system. Okay, so I said that you can either be freaking out in response or you can be calmed down. So your sympathetic is going to be your stressed out state. So this is going to get you up and moving. So you're freaking out, the coach just yelled at you, said something loud and mean, and it's going to increase heart rate, going to just be more aware, more focused. Whereas, sometimes the coach tells you to, hey, calm down, we're okay, take a deep breath, you're doing fine. This is going to be your parasympathetic, okay? So this, in science, is usually called your rest and digest. So you are calm, relaxing, you just ate a good meal, and you're chilling. Okay, so both of these can act upon the same tissue types. I already mentioned the heart, and if you think about the sympathetic nervous system, you're increasing your heart rate, whereas your parasympathetic, it'll decrease heart rate. And think about it also, it's going to affect your smooth muscles. Your smooth muscles line your intestines. Which one do you think is going to stimulate the intestines more? Well, if you're resting and digesting, it's likely those smooth muscles of your intestines will contract more, right? So this one, in the parasympathetic, those effectors are going to say, hey, move those intestines, we're good, we're resting, you can start digesting. In the sympathetic, it's actually going to decrease the activity of those smooth muscles because you are stressed, you need blood to your muscles, not to your skeletal muscles, not your intestines. That's the last thing on your mind, right? So both of these are going to act on cardiac tissue and smooth muscle tissue, just in different ways. Smooth muscle tissue, whoops. So again, just think about it as this is a coach, right? So the coach is watching what's happening. He's responding to what's happening in multiple ways. It can be specific, voluntary in your muscles, or it can give you an automatic response as a player to either get stressed, increase your heart rate, and freak out, and be ready for action, or maybe you're freaking out a little too much, and he needs to calm you down and decrease your heart rate and chill you out, okay? So this is a great analogy. If you can just remember the coach and his player-to-player interactions, you can memorize this so incredibly quickly and easily, and it'll help you for your next test. Again, this is Organized Biology. I hope this was helpful. Drop some comments below, like and subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.